What's your best take on the path forward?
Yeah, so good morning, Brian. Look, obviously this thing sounds very serious, so I don't want to come across as sounding incompassionate at all. But we already know the playbook, right? And we just heard the news from Moderna. They think that there's potentially a vaccine in early 2022. And if you think about it, the question investors should be posing to themselves right now is, if I could go back in time, would I have bought stocks on March 1st of 2020? Would I have bought stocks on St. Paddy's Day of 2020 when the lockdowns were happening across the country? 100% of investors would have done that. So we know the playbook. When I look at Friday, I think that was just a knee-jerk reaction. And look, this morning looks good so far, but there may be some more selling this week. But you have to use these pullbacks opportunistically. Maybe, just maybe, we end up seeing that ever-elusive 10% correction that we haven't seen in like 18 months. I doubt it, but I would be using pullbacks opportunistically.
Yeah, do you find any solace in the fact that the markets did not, at least right now, and it's still very early in the morning, but the future's indicating we might rise a little bit, that the selling has not followed through, meaning maybe some key technical levels were not breached. Options traders may have gotten themselves straight on Friday, that there wasn't sort of that forced flush, that because whatever happened on Friday was not all fundamentals.
Correct. I mean, obviously, illiquidity was a huge issue on Friday. But, Brian, I mean, if you think about it, COVID is all over the news headlines, but the stock market itself is becoming kind of desensitized to the latest COVID news of the day. And if you think about it, each and every single variant has led to shorter and more shallow pullbacks. So I think that's at play as well. Again, we don't know. We know that this is probably a more transmissible variant. We don't know if it's more severe, less severe. We don't know how effective the vaccines are. We just heard from someone, I believe you said in South Africa, that maybe they're still just as effective. So we don't know what's going on. I think a lot of it was a knee-jerk reaction. Yes, I feel much better when I look at the futures this morning and I see that we're already rebounding a little bit.
Yeah. And we're going to hear, by the way, from Dr. Angelique Coetzee of South Africa live in about 15 minutes. That is an interview nobody can afford to miss. Quickly, I teased a couple of names. I'll throw them both out. You can just kind of give us the one or two liner on them. Stocks you like, new names, by the way, sort of smaller mid-caps. DermTech and Aspen Aerogels. Why do you like them? What makes them attractive?
So DermTech, I mean, this thing had quite the run earlier this year. It's kind of come back to a level where I think it's very viable. They have a less invasive, more accurate way to detect melanoma. And melanoma is very curable when you detect it early, very deadly if you miss it. So they put a sticker on a lesion rather than having a dermatologist do a biopsy. So it's much more effective at actually diagnosing. Now you just have to get the dermatologist to embrace it. I've been to the dermatologist in the last few months. I've seen the signs up. You got to get the payers to begin to pay for it. So I think there's a huge opportunity in DermTech right now. It's at a very, very good level. And then when we look at Aspen Aerogels, that's the way I like to play the EV space, Brian. So I'm not a big fan of buying a Tesla or the Rivian or something like that. I'd much rather play the EV space through the batteries. I've been buying Aspen Aerogel since it was in the low 20s. They've got a battery technology that improves a battery's performance and range, and it also prevents battery fires, which have been an issue as well. So those are two stocks I'd be buying right here, right now.